Hi, happy Tuesday. I cannot stop the smile. I have had the best Tuesday that I've lived ever, and Tuesdays are incredibly fantastic for me over and over again. The fact that I get to live such an exciting day every week blows my mind. Blows my mind. Tuesday is so generous and it's surprising. Like, it's so good. What is it? Creepy on the other side of the door.
Chloe needs you.
What's up, baby?
Chloe needs you.
Okay. Oh, BRB. Especially because I want to talk about working with our children. Let me go see what my children need. Oh,
Who are you talking to?
I bet it's about Amazon Prime.
It is.
Tell her I'll be right there.
Mom will be right there, Chloe.
Okay, can you shut me back out?
Yeah.
Thank you. So, all right. Tell her, add it to the cart. Don't push go until we're done. So, first, I like to say everything that I like to teach and talk about is in connection with our energetic self or our emotional self. And that's sort of that invisible world that is the bigger part of us that is like funneling into this being and having this Nancy experience or this you experience, you know? I like to speak to the invisible and sort of give it more tangible understanding so that we can make it make sense. Because when we understand what things are, when we know what the parts are supposed to do, it's easy to be more deliberate with them and have a whole entire different experience. So I've started learning about like human design and tarot and all of these different things, astrology, you know, on my own healing. But as I've started turning this more into like being a conscious parent, not just being aware that they're having a moment, but like we now do things on purpose with creation. And I keep thinking about this, how it seemed a little bit by accident or by luck in the beginning. You know, now this is something, this feels very powerful, you know. I'm a single mom. I have 3 littles. My human design is a generator. My oldest and my youngest, a boy and a girl, are both manifesting generator. And then my middle, how perfect, is a projector. So that sounds like a bunch of different random words, right? But when you can understand that like all of those different types have different ways that they create with their energy, different ways that they sort of magnetize experiences. And then when you let yourself sort of all think together, what do we all sort of want? And then let ourselves all daydream in that direction and using all of our own unique abilities as, you know, the one that can see my projector or the 2 that are really good at activating and manifesting, you know, my oldest and my youngest. You know, you can super see their manifesting selves when they are creating. It looks so much different than like when I am doing it or when my middle daughter is doing it. I kind of laugh about the way manifestors look. They kind of look like when they're in that very pointy, like they want something space. It's such a, and on one hand, I admire it. You know, I was actually telling one of my very best friend, you know, I've been trying to learn how to practice being more precise and harnessing that fire energy and putting it into my aligned action. You know, Jupiter's coming and I got things to do. My Jupiter's in Leo. So anyway, but so I've been playing with this, like, how do I understand my children in their own individual way and adding this human design spin, which for myself has been like this own inner treasure map, you know, and I know there's no end all be all. None of it ever felt like that. You know, I sort of looked at it as a suggestion, and sometimes I'll read things and it just doesn't resonate. And it's sort of like my eyes just roll right over, almost like meh, but there's so much truth and resonance when I'm looking at like the gates or which archetype is doing what at which channel and how that's shown up for me. And now as a person who understands this, and here is this young being, this child with so much less resistance than me, because they're only 7 or 10 or 12. How can we all work together and, you know, bring what we want to us faster? So it's really, really, really an advantage. Hi, hey. It's really an advantage that we have by having these close relationships to our children. And you know, as a once upon a time, and I still am stay-at-home mom, technically. I guess I stay at home even more now. We homeschool. But that's something we manifested on purpose. It was a Friday. My oldest daughter was like, Mom, I can't with the school anymore. And I was like, you know, we've talked to the powers that be. We've done this. We've done that. If we want to shift this, we got to use our magic. And to me, when we talk about our magic, that's our imagination and our emotional self. Like, we do it by energy. To me, all magic can sort of be explained with science, which is why it's real. Oh my God, thanks. That's awesome. And that's something that we can share to another. Like, it doesn't have to be like, like, it kind of gets to feel like that. But it's also like this general scope of energy it's like we all have this great big buffet, whether we're using fire or like a tree or a herb, you know, or if we're like taking a bath, or if we're getting rained on. Yes, I'll call you after, you know, or if, like if we're planting, if we're burning, you know, like all these, when we're cooking, for God's sake, do you know all the magic available to us in cooking? Not just the properties that the food is bringing to us, but the power that you as the cook gets to sort of add like that alakazoo, blah, 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 blah. All of that gets to be really real. It's like, I'm putting in love, I'm putting in health, I'm putting in intuitive knowingness, I'm putting in creativity, I'm putting in joy, you know, and then just like appreciating all the parts. This gets to be so much different. And, you know, it's kind of the time where the underdog, if you would, it's time for the comeback, and not in a way other people lose. It's the surprising twist. It's like, no, everybody gets to do it their way once we're through all the work. And there are people definitely hurting as part of our species for the evolution and revolution of us all. And that is not to be slighted on or less than, you know, it is not at all to be not important. And anytime there's something going on, it is important. But until we are in our power, we only will add to the calling out for help. When we are in our power, then we can come up with new ideas. We can then send our strong energy right at the source. When we're feeling in the defeat and the sad and the pain and the betrayal, we are only vacuuming more from those evil people that are sort of feeding it and that are magnetized to it. And while that is never to be like a blame thing, just as someone that is knowing her energy and knowing what we're capable of, I would never on purpose put more for another person to suffer through if I knew better. And for me, I know that better, you know. Like, and it's the same way that we hold space when we're listening to our friends or our family and we're trying to like help see them through. The way that we really and truly help them is by letting them come to us, holding their idea, the end game, holding it here and here and seeing them there. So even when they call and they're struggling, we remind them, no, remember, I see you here. Come back. And you get to sort of be the beacon, you know, if you want to, and you don't have to. But if you really want to help somebody, that's really what you do. You don't have to give them the resource. You don't have to give them the solution. You have to help them see it, even when they can't see it. because our energy starts in thought form first. And then it comes into something we speak. And then it comes into something others hear and respond to and can join into or not. So, whether we're creating with our children or leaning into a friendship or talking to our therapist, we're all sort of contributing. And, it's like as a one person, when you're one person and all your parts are well, you feel like you can do lots of things. When you're one person and, like if you have broken a limb or if you have like an ear infection or a chest cold, you aren't at your full capacity. So as a species, when part of us are suffering and part of us are also inflicting the pain, that does have an effect on us. And the way that we can serve that back from an energy place in the invisible, which is where that would be met, is by changing the frequency. And the only way that we can change that frequency is by seeing the healing happen, starting to let those intuitive paths come into light and knowing that there are people that already have solutions. They just need more support, whether it's for each individual family to find empowerment, whether it's for the neighborhoods in every city to find like balance and freedom to live how they all want to live without clashing all the time. It's going to be these incremental shifts. And while all of this outside is absolutely happening all the time, to show up and make the most impact in a way that feels good for us all as a whole, it has to start here. And as a mom, my next layer would be my children, and it's a very unique experience we have, especially when you have like younger children like I do. And it is, I still have some say-so over what they do. Like, I have a little bit more control over what they take in. Ha 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 ha. They have the internet, so I'm not fooling myself. But, for the most part, they aren't teenagers out in the world, like, doing teenager things yet. I still have this advantage of learning and leaning into their imagination and letting them help uplift the situation as a whole, because they can see this without all of the things that I know that are hard or have been hard. It's a really an enjoyable experience when you're able to like realize the power that your own energy has and what you and your children can do together. And it's kind of really easy for us as moms to feel that, because we already are feeling and sharing energy all day long. We know that, but once you start kind of doing it on purpose with manifesting, it's really fun. We've been homeschooling now, not quite 2 months. And today was the first day, thanks to the weather and thanks to just opportunity, we took our class into the woods. And we've had days where it's been really enjoyable and we feel really satisfied at the end of the day. But at the end of today, they were all asking if we can work again tomorrow in the woods. Everybody is already excited and having more ideas about school tomorrow before we were even back home and done with this today. And to me, that's sort of like the dream that I saw. I would look at people that have been able to travel, which is something that I'm creating with my children for our family, and I saw people in the woods having this magical natural experience. But I like to be at home. I want to be comfortable. I need to be warm. And I like soft, dry things, But how lucky is it that our home, we literally have the woods in our backyard now. And this home is totally something that we manifested together as a family, And I just think that there are so many moms that have this opportunity that are already learning into their own awakening. And maybe it hasn't occurred to you yet. Wait, look at me turning my life around. Imagine tweaking this knowledge a little bit and like uplifting my own children's experience in a way that just naturally ricochets and boomerangs into me and to my life and how I care for them, how I receive for them. Like, I know I'm not the only parent who has discovered this, but this is 100% something that we should all be really, really, really doing more often. Like, there is this law that I learned last year studying and practicing learning from like Christ consciousness, and not in the Christian Christ, but the Christ as the like a pattern man, how to come through as an energetic being and have the most uplifting and lovingly impactful way, you know, how to experience abundance, how to experience magic, you know, without hurting anyone else. And one of the rules, the laws, is when two humans agree, it's done. Well, who better to agree about what we want to live every day than me and my own children? The fact that we all wanted to homeschool together and we all created it together. You know, we're a separated family. It wasn't really making a whole lot of sense at first. And we just kept looking at the game, at the end goal. We want to do it this way, but we want to do it this way. And it's like we all held it enough until it was like, okay, now activate. My oldest is the manifesting generator. She came to me and she says, I really want this. I said, well, then it's time that you invoke this. You know, see yourself doing that. You see nothing else. It is done. We tell ourselves it is done. We said the components cooperating with us. Everything is done. It is done. It is done. And guys, we did that on Friday, and by Monday we were homeschooling. Then she never, ever, 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 ever had to go back to school again. The paperwork wasn't done. I thought I had to do the paperwork. We thought we would have to do the 2 weeks. By that Monday, we learned we did not have to do the 2 weeks. There was no more need. We did not have to do it anymore. All of the parts cooperated and wanted to do it. And it was a go. And I 100% believe and know that by activating and cooperating with our energies together, it just brought it through like so easy. Just easy. Like, it's just easy and it's enjoyable and everybody feels satisfied. Everybody gets to be a part. Everybody's part's important, you know? And it does. Like, your family gets to have its own unique experience no matter what's happening to everybody else in the whole wide world. And that sounds extreme. That sounds also like, yeah, we know. We get to decorate. We get it smells like we want it. No, guys. It gets to be however you want it. And as a mom who was like once this much income, you know, I hadn't worked in the field for a long time because I was working at home with my children. I was taking care of home. So I had that resume gap. Ooh. You know, all the things were against me, and I was able to work back through that one notch at a time. And I know that any mom can do that now. And I know it can be really hard. It can look so freaking big. That mountain is too big. It is too flacking big. And you're right. We will not make one step and go all the way over that. But one notch at a time, one breath at a time, one bite at a time. It gets to come and it gets to be easier. It gets to come and you get to have support. It gets to come in a way that you get what you want. You don't have to not get what you want. Nobody has to lose. Nobody has to do the extreme things that are being done. This can be in a way that we all find an experience that is enjoyable. And especially once we all have our own inner knowing, our own self-power reacclimated, remembered into ourself. And then we can notice, wait, if I'm powerful, that means all these kids is too. That's like 1,000,000 kilowatts of power per little one. And then Google up their human design information and see which way they manifest best. Is this child best? My middle child is a projector. She needs more sleep. The other two are manifesting generators. They need to be unique. I want to support their creativity. It's going to change and seem inconsistent to me. They may even seem selfish when they're really embedded into an idea and a curiosity. And as long as it isn't hurting them or us, our family as a whole, I'm just going to kind of sit back and let them do that. Because they're finding their power in a way that, you know, they're not going through the trauma of like that karmic wheel. That whole season has sort of ended for us. And it's, you know, too many people know that that's not the way that it has to go anymore. Too many people are kind of stopping and being like, oh no. 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 Agrees with me. That hasn't happened the whole time. Now it's just bing-bonging away. All right. See you soon.